What's up, guys? Brownie Bits here, and I've actually done a lot. Look at this, guys. Oh my gosh. So this is actually right here. This is why the video is very late. So I wanted to start off by saying I'm sorry, but I kind of got a little carried away. I wanted to kind of flatten this out, and I did a lot. As you can see, we haven't gotten kind of past this area yet, but this is where our villager breeder village is. Right down here, we've got green grass to kind of mix in with it. But yeah, so eventually all the way around this area is going to be flattened out to about this size. I may make some hills and stuff, you know, kind of make it look a little nicer, but I want this whole thing to be the town. So I want buildings like this. I want them all over the place, not just, you know, here. So this whole area is the town, and there wouldn't be a real big forest. Now, we will go back in and plant some trees, maybe make some custom trees, but that's not what we're doing today. We are working on a dock, and let's get right on into it. Alright guys, and welcome back. So, I have this little mock-up. We've got this dock area here, we've got this over here, and then that one has just the piles. So this is what we're working on today. We've got this kind of square boathouse laid out, I guess. It's not really a boathouse. This would be, I guess, the area where they could buy bait, the fisher, you know, they could trade. There's going to be some market stalls in here. I want this to be a dual story, exactly like the rest. We're going to build it very similarly to those buildings over there, same style and everything. But I wanted to kind of get started on this. Now, first off, as you can see here, this is dark oak wood going into spruce, and I think that's going to be a huge thing because we have the idea that this is underwater, so it's going to be maybe soaked up a little bit more, and it's going to be a darker color. To me, that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, I'm sorry. The other thing I wanted to kind of talk about today was actually having to do with last episode. Now, we'll get into kind of the comments and everything, but you guys, that was a lot of response. I really do appreciate all the response that you guys did give me for that video. And basically the conclusion that I came to is that you guys wouldn't care if I started to dupe sand and gravel for the sheer purpose of maybe making it easier on myself. Actually, you know what? 1, 2, 3. I think we're going to bring this out a little bit farther. And then this comes up to the water level. And we will put spruce logs on top of that. I think this is a good size for a boat dock. Now, I do want to do some terraforming. Like, I want this whole area to kind of open up and the river continue. So this kind of will be a huge lake. Eventually, this, as you can see, I've started to take down leaves. I did a lot of the same stuff as what I did over here in these areas over here. Can I please? Thank you. As what I did over here, but as you can see, I wanted to get an episode out because this is obviously way too late. Anyways, it seemed to me that you guys did not really care if I think that lines up really nicely. Does this line up? It actually does. Perfect. Okay. So yeah, we're going to have some entrances here. We're going to have an entrance here, an entrance over here, and an entrance back here. I think that's going to be a really good way to get out onto the... And I was also kind of thinking, like, this back part here where we have these entrances, maybe cut off right, going across right here maybe, we would actually have the actual walls. So this would be kind of an open market area or open area with the second floor hanging over. A lot of plans, a lot of ideas stemming from this, but I think I'm going to, I think 2 more, like we did over here. I think 2 more is going to be more than plenty. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we will take this guy out. And this guy out. And we are Aqua Brownie. Oh man. I think underneath the docks that's not really going to be important, so we're just going to make it to where it's not really accessible unless you kind of swim under. There's no real point, there's no real idea for it, so I don't think we're going to really mess with that. I don't see a real good reason for it to be a big deal. Now, let's see. So since you guys basically decided that, or for the most part, everybody was okay with it, I think what I'm going to do is just limit it to gravel and sand and not worry about the actual like concrete powders. Somebody had mentioned that the dyes is where they kind of get them. So I think sand and gravel, I think me crafting them all in, I think that's acceptable. And I think that's something that we all can kind of just agree with and be okay with. So I think that's going to be a good spot to kind of start this episode off. So we will kind of get in, or we won't do that. I think I may, depends on what you guys think. If you guys want to see the actual machine to dupe it, it's actually a really easy design. But if you guys want to see that, I can put it into an episode. But if you don't, then I can just kind of leave it be. I would love to hear your opinions on that as well, because we had a lot of great information on that. So, yeah. I think what we'll do... The other thing is we do have to find some red sand eventually, and we won't worry about that. I do want to get this finished up. But I think I've talked enough. Let me go ahead and kind of get some of this built, and I'm thinking I'm going to do, or try to do, a time-lapse on this. So hopefully that'll be a really cool thing. But for right now, I will be right back. Alright guys, and welcome back. And as you can see, we've got a really tall building here, but I think it's looking pretty darn cool on the inside as well. We've got this awesome upstairs area, which I don't really know what I'm going... Ooh, excuse me. What I'm going to do with this yet. I really like the staircase, and I think this is a nice entrance. And then we come out to this area where you have your actual docks where you can kind of reach or go down and get into your boats in. And I think there's a nice little area out here that we can do some fun stuff with. And then we can even do some fun stuff on the outside around the edges here. So I think this property here is actually going to turn out very nice. I love the shape of this building. And I'm doing some kind of different stuff, some very similar stuff, but some different stuff all the same, so that this is kind of its own idea, I guess. But yeah, we do want to get the same architectural stylings, but maybe make some changes in it. That way it stands out as our own. So I like how this is looking so far. This is very grand. I'm thinking I'm probably going to do something up here, and maybe it's just going to be a cobblestone flat ceiling. But yeah, that's an idea. I'm really liking how this is going, and I'm also thinking that we do this on this side. Oh, and I don't have any left, of course. Let's go ahead and grab another cobblestone wall. So this has been just an awesome project. Actually, you know what? I think what we do here... Oh, this was a bad choice. Mistakes were made. I think, yeah, what we do here is get some... We need some spruce wood. There we go. And then let's throw some of this down as well. Now, you'll be able to see part of that. And the whole reason I am actually doing this is because I want the opportunity to really see details in areas that necessarily wouldn't be thought of as far as where you would put these. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm really, really liking this. This is really nice so far. I could bring up the piles a little bit more, but I think that's a good height. We might do... We could try oak wood on top as kind of sun bleached. And we might do some of these kind of broken out as well, so that it kind of gives the impression that part of this has been here for a very long time, giving that sun bleached wood effect. So yeah, I think this is, oh man, I'm really liking this project so far. This has been a real fun thing to work on. Man, I love how just massive this build is. It really encaptures the whole feeling I want for this this little town. This fishing... I don't want to call it a fishing village because it's not out on the ocean. This is like a trade center, I guess would be the best idea. And some of the lore I'm coming up with actually has to do with the mansion itself. And now I'm not doing any of the Vindicators or any of those guys since I did kill them all. But the lore itself has to do with a grand general. And I'm about to sneeze. Oh my gosh, excuse me. But yeah, so the lore itself that I'm writing up, this is all that I'm doing, myself. The lore itself is that this grand general came here to settle. And so he built this grand mansion out in this kind of, on the edge of this big, mighty dark oak forest that kind of stretched out beyond. And so he built this mansion here by the river, and people started flocking here to see this grand house. And they eventually started building here and developing this into its own town. And after generations, this is actually a pretty big hub. So I think we got this. We're going to probably do a couple buildings here, maybe a house here. I'm thinking, we want to make this a pretty bustling city. And with this kind of trade port idea here, I think this is going to be awesome. And what we can even do, because this is a big enough area, we can even have, maybe a dock over here, and make this whole thing just kind of developed into this big, grand area. Maybe with some stalls around here for, trade and everything like that. I think that's going to really envelop this lore quite a bit. But that's kind of where we're at now. I think I'm going to do some more work on this guy. That way we kind of have... I want to get a roof on it. And I want to get the rest of this details... Well, it's not going to be fully detailed. Like this guy's not even close to being fully detailed. He still needs a lot of windows and everything. But we're going to probably do all that detail work in another time. Or I might even do it off camera and come back and show you. But I want to get the main idea of it. kind of out there. And this is looking really cool. Once we break down the dirt, I think we are going to have some really interesting ideas here. And one thing I want to do that kind of gets back to closer to that is I want to have, well, the 4. So that will be down here. I may even line it up with this. I'll figure it out. I'll make sure to find a way that will make it work. But up there, we're going to get back to the 3 windows rather than... I think we're going to keep the windows out of this guy. Yeah, because the windows are just going to be rough because of the villager trader. So we want to detail all that out. And I'm talking for way too long now. So I'm going to go ahead and get back to work, and I will be back hopefully with a nice big roof on it and maybe some windows poked out. But guys, I will be right back. Alright guys, and welcome back, and I think we have finished it off. As you can see, we've got a nice front view. Now the sides are not quite as finished as this, but I wanted to get those windows punched out and kind of get a design in there so that we can kind of see what we are working with. Let's go ahead and take off right here. We also have this beautiful dome. Now on the top, on the outside, it doesn't look nearly as good as the inside. The reason I made it, I still think it looks good, especially from a distance. It does give that... Oh, I'm out of food too. Anyways, it does give that kind of circular shape. So I'm happy with that. But the inside is where I think it really shows its depth. I really like this inside. I think it looks amazing. I think it works very well for this whole thing. So I think it looks awesome. That's definitely something that we want and we're going to really enjoy. Now, one thing I do want to end up doing, I don't have enough, I don't believe. If I do, it's probably not even... Oh, we do. So what I probably will end up doing is I may even switch out all the glass in there, but I want to use white stained glass in these, just because I think that's a good option. But that's about all the time I have left. I do want to get in to our comments of the day as the sun is going down. I think what I'll do is going to go ahead and sleep. Let's sleep real fast before we get into this book, because there are some really good things I want to touch on, and I would like to do this before I get attacked by mobs. So let's, it's close enough. I was going to say it's close enough. Guys, I want to, I know I have mentioned it already, but I want to thank you guys for the amazing response in the last episode. I think including all my comments, which I replied to, or I tried to reply to everybody, because there was a lot of really good points answering the question that I posed about duping sand and gravel. And I know I have already said it, but it seems to me that everybody is in agreed that duping sand, at least in this series, is okay. So I think we're going to do that. If you guys want to see the machine or see me set up the machine, make sure you comment down below and say, yes, I would like to see the machine. Or if you don't care, just, it doesn't matter then. And if I do get some comments saying that you do want to see the machine, then I will put that in an episode, because it's not that hard to set up. But anyways, let's get right on into the comments. I've picked 2, just because of the sheer amount of them. I think these 2 had kind of the best points that I wanted to kind of touch on. First off, Vanilla Raccoon. He says, from a content creator standpoint, I understand the idea of duping to help cut time from gathering resources and also leaving behind an ugly landscape / hole in the ground. That is especially what we want to do. I do want to do or get into a desert and do some sort of desert village at some point. And if we're taking a bunch of sand, that's going to make the landscape ugly. Plus, it's not going to help us because we want that sand there. And then he goes on to say, from a viewer standpoint, I wouldn't want to see someone do minerals/metals, iron, gold, lapis, redstone, diamonds, and emeralds, but sand, gravel, and red sand, I could turn the other cheek. And I totally understand that. Now, one thing I do have an issue with is iron farms. I don't know if that's considered duping, but that is kind of, you're getting iron for free basically. And then the other thing with that, gold and redstone, I don't know if you can get lapis from witches. I know you can get glowstone, but anyways, gold and redstone, there's also farms that you can set up, witch farms with the redstone, and for the gold, the donut, the big pigman farm, you can get a bunch of that stuff. Now, I don't know if that's considered duping. I don't consider it. I think that's just, working within the bounds of the game and what's in the code. And, as far as duping sand, gravel, and red sand, and gravity blocks in general, that's kind of in the code too. You can make the game work to your advantage. And so I don't, it's an iffy ground, especially with that stuff. But if you have anything else to comment on that, make sure you do comment down below if you have any other opinions on this. And then Christopher Wildly said, I think the sand and gravel duplicating this is fine. It is simple using mechanics that are in the game. It's not a hack nor cheating. It's really no different than setting up a chicken cooker per se. So in my vote is a thumbs up. And I really agree with that. That's kind of how I was looking at it. A chicken cooker or an iron farm, or a gold farm, pigman farm, or even your zombie or skeleton grinders. I would say, or I could agree with the fact that they are all within the code, and setting up, a duplication machine that just duplicates the sand and gravel, I could completely understand. That's my point of view. If you have another point of view, please let me know, because I would love to, if there is an issue, I would love to address it. So I thank you guys all for the amazing support. I really do appreciate it. But that's about all the time. I don't know why I'm coming down here. That's about all the time I have left. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.